Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Spanish tragedy, and we get to hear from the Viceroy of Portugal today in Act 3, Scene 1. But first, a little bit of catch-up, because there's a little tiny scene called Act 2, Scene 6 that we need to figure out what happened there. And the stuff that happened prior to that, Bellimperia had decided to love Horatio, which made Balthazar very angry, so they bribed her servant Pedringano to let them know when Horatio and Bellimperia were going to see each other, and then they ambushed that meeting. They killed Horatio, hung his body from a tree, and stabbed him to death. His father, Hieronymo, is absolutely distraught at this, as is his mother, Isabella. Hieronymo is the one that found his body hanging from a tree. They have decided that they need to get revenge, but in yesterday's monologue, first they do a little funeral and sing the funeral dirge, or speak the funeral dirge for Horatio, so that he can have a proper death, a proper burial. So Act 2, Scene 6 is just a real quick check-in with the ghost of Don Andrea and the personification of revenge. And Don Andrea is like, how is this supposed to be helping me? Like, first I die, and then I have to watch my dear friend Horatio get killed by Balthazar, and they're mistreating Bellimperia, who I loved when I was on Earth. Like, how is this better? What was I sent back? I was sent back to watch this? What? And Revenge is like, hang on, just hang on. We're getting there. We're getting there. I promise you, we're getting there. And that's Act 2, Scene 6. So Act 3, Scene 1 starts out, we are in Portugal. We're back on the Portuguese side of things. And if you remember the last time that we checked in with the Portuguese side of things, the Viceroy was pretty sure that Balthazar was dead, but then they're like, no, your son's not dead. And Voluppo ended up blaming Alexandro for Balthazar's death or imprisonment, all of that sort of stuff. He set up Alexandro, and Alexandro was arrested, and Voluppo was like, ha 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 ha, this is going to be good for me. That was the last time that we hung out on the Portuguese side of things. So Act 3, Scene 1 kicks off with the Viceroy of Portugal saying, "In fortunate condition of kings, seated amidst so many helpless doubts. First we are placed upon extremest height, and oft supplanted with exceeding hate, but ever subject to the wheel of chance. And at our highest never joy we sow, as we both doubt and dread our overthrow. So striveth not the waves with sundry winds, as fortune toileth in the affair of kings, that would be feared, yet fear to be beloved, sith fear or love to kings is flattery. For instance, lordlings, look upon your king, by hate deprived of his dearest son, the only hope of our successive line." So he's talking to just a bunch of other lords that are hanging out in the court right now. And this is a little bit of a, like, heavy is the head that wears the crown sort of speech. He's talking about how difficult it is to be a king because, you know, the people love you, so they make you king, but then they end up hating you because of the things that you do as the king. And kings are always afraid that they are going to be killed, executed, dethroned, overthrown, all this kind of stuff. So they keep going around on this wheel of, hey, I did something great, oh my goodness, I'm going to be killed. Hey, I did something great, I'm going to be killed. That sort of spiral. And he turns to the lords and he's like, look at me, I lost my son. They hated me enough that I lost my son, and he was the only line of succession going on here. And the lords are a little bit of yes men in this respect, and they're like, yeah, you know, that's really sad that he's gone, and all this and that. And the Viceroy is like, well, like, we need to take care of this, so bring in Alexandro, the one who is at fault for the fact that my son died. So they bring in Alexandro, who's pleading for his life and being like, I didn't do this, Voluppo is setting me up. And they're like, it doesn't matter. They tie him to a stake and are about to set fire to him and burn him at the stake when the ambassador of Portugal comes in, who had been in Spain for the dinner where Balthazar was there. And the ambassador is like, whoa, hold up. Here's letters from the king. And by the way, I physically saw your son. He's living in the Spanish court, and he's doing just fine. And here's a letter from the king. And the letter from the king of Spain basically says, you know, your son is living here. We received your payment. We're all good. So, like, war over, no more animosity there. And the Viceroy is like, okay, first take him down, unbind him from this stake. He doesn't need to be burned at the stake anymore. And so he comes down, Alexandra is brought down. He's like, thank you, you're so gracious, blah, blah, blah. And then the Viceroy turns to Vellupo and is like, what did he ever do to you that you would do this and that you would let me think this? What? And Vellupo tries to make an excuse for himself. And in tomorrow's monologue, we will get to see whether or not the Viceroy of Portugal buys Vellupo's excuse. So come on back tomorrow and we'll find that out. I'll see you then. Mwah.